world. And if you're just starting out, well, it can be a very costly exercise indeed. But don't take my word for it. Here's the former European champion, talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver.
You're turning professional and you're boxing, let's say, York Hall on a non-televised fight. You have to sell tickets to earn any money, but you have to cover the wages of your opponent as well. So if you don't have the ability to be able to sell enough tickets, you effectively have to pay to fight.
A far cry then from Jake Paul facing Mike Tyson in 2024, when the purse was reported to be around £48 million. But the vast amounts of cash lining the top dog's pockets isn't the norm in a typical fight.
Let's say you're lucky and you get between 5 and 10 grand. You're going to get 10 grand max for that. 10% goes to the trainer, 25% goes to the manager. Then we've got the tax man to pay as well. So we're cutting that money in at least half. So now you've got 5 grand for a 10-week camp. So you're talking about a guy here earning, he might be clearing 500 quid a week. How do you support a family on that? So boxers chase the dream. And, you know, there's probably 2% of them that actually make it.
So say you do make it and you start to rise up the ranks. Strikers Boxing, a training academy, says the mid-tier fighters can earn more, somewhere between £10,000 and £50,000 a fight, depending on record, profile, opponent and popularity of weight class. It's only at the top level does the real cash start flowing in, with the top-tier professionals, i.e. those going for titles, earning 6 figures a fight. Something else you'll have heard of is the terms prize fighter or journeyman. A prize fighter is, as it sounds, someone who picks up fights where they can and gets a nice big check if they win. Journeymen are the fighters who take on up-and-comers, effectively used for experience in the ring. Even if they're going up against the real prospects, a young Anthony Joshua, for example, these guys will be lucky to earn more than 10 grand. So the average boxer isn't as rich as you'd think.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the world's biggest sports radio station, talkSPORT. My name's Max Rushden. Alongside me, Barry Glendenning, until 1:30, where we will talk about many things. Hey, Barry, how are you?
I am tremendously well, Max. Although I've just this instant realised I should have cleared my throat before I started talking.
You can't be
before the red light went on.
Yeah, wow. Well, you can't be expected to get everything right, Barry. And, you know, if that is your only mistake in the next 2.5 hours, then I'd say that's a good programme.
I had a very early start this morning, Max.
Okay, what have you done?
I've spent the weekend. I've been... Right, I'm not going to come over all Mrs. Lovejoy from The Simpsons and swoon and clutch my pearls. I have been enjoying the Ryder Cup. And
good, isn't it?
all the...
It's on a knife edge. It's on a knife edge.
Oh, it's on
Barry.
a knife edge, yes. It's. I think the first match tees off tonight at, this afternoon at 2 minutes past 5. Not 5 o'clock, not 5 past 5. 2 minutes past 5. Okay. There's probably a reason for that. I don't know what it is. I haven't checked. But I guess, around the golf, 2 people being abused by a baying mob of Trump supporters. How long is a round taking? assuming
maybe 3 hours.
3 hours, but it's match play, so the European it'll only be 10 holes. Is it 10 holes the minimum or not? Yeah, 10 holes. So how long? 10 holes, probably 2.5 hours. So 3 of those match over. Do the rest of them keep playing? Or?
Yeah, you keep playing, of course.
Right.
But, the edge is taken. I'm slightly disappointed that, and obviously the Americans can throw this back in our faces if there is this most ridiculous comeback. Which
there is no chance.
There is no chance, of course. I'm disappointed in a way that we're so far ahead. Now, every time Justin Rose hold a putt, I wasn't like, I'd like us to lose a few points, but I am a bit sad that we're not destined for like an amazing final day singles. I
Do you
did
know what?
enjoy.
I normally would be, and I don't really care about golf. It's okay. I quite like watching it sometimes. Generally, tournaments tend to end too late on a Sunday night for me to stay up for.
Yes.
So I don't take that much of an interest. But I don't think I've ever wanted a team I even vaguely support. I don't think I've ever wanted one to crush the opposition into the dirt as much as I've wanted Europe to thrash the Yanks this weekend.
This is because of the crowd. Terrible behaviour.
The appalling behaviour of the crowd. It's I said to you before the show, it's like they got 50,000 of the very worst people there are on social media and invited them to a golf tournament. and then gave them loads of beer.
I did like the way that golfer, Chris Wood, who I was for a second, I was like, Chris Wood played for Europe in 2016.
Is there no end to his talent?
Yeah. And then he became a New Zealander, and now he's up front for Forest. So I checked. He played in 2016 in the Ryder Cup, and the way he described Justin Rose saying, "Don't react," was how people say what you're meant to do when either a black or a brown bear approaches. And I can't remember which one it is. And the other one is to, make yourself big and yell. But the way he described it was like, if a crocodile is near you, Justin Rose says, don't react.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I think it is interesting that some sports, you're completely allowed to do that. In every football match, this happens every single time. And some sports we decide, you wouldn't have that at the Crucible, would you, Brian? I mean, that kind of thing. And I suppose some sports, it lends itself to sort of boorish yelling. And otherwise, otherwise we don't care about it. But it doesn't, I'm not as annoyed as you are, I think. But...
I think the reason I'm annoyed is it's not just the Ryder Cup. It's indicative of what American society as a whole has become. This is just a small section of America at a golf competition.
Sure.
I'm guessing that everywhere you go in America is like that.
Well, I don't think that's true. I don't know. I'm not just trying to balance
I grew up near where Shane Lowry grew up, about 20 miles away. I'm probably as overweight as Shane Lowry is, and I'm guessing that if I was walking around a golf course as an overweight Offaly man in America, just everyone would be calling me Fatso and Jabba the Hutt as well, which is fine. I wouldn't mind particularly, but I'd imagine it would get quite tiresome after a while.
Yeah, you're almost certainly right. Look, Rupert Bell's going to join us so we can talk about how much we're going to win by and how terrible or not the crowds are. But let's do a bit of West Ham, Barry. A guest already. They're keen, aren't they? Will Pugh, Sun Sport journalist, founder of the We Are West Ham podcast, friend of the show. I like his work. He joins us now. Now, Graham Potter was sacked, Will, during my show with Charlie, which meant we couldn't do our quiz time difference, and I was really annoyed by this, and so I now have a vendetta against West Ham. It seems like the least surprising news football has ever delivered.
Yeah, firstly, Max, that seems perfectly reasonable, your stance on hating West Ham because of that. I do. It is the least surprising news in history. I think more to the point is Nuno's appointment, which I think has got some fans as excited as it's possible to be while supporting a club like West Ham at the moment. But yeah, I think when it came to it, I think even Graham Potter, as far as I understand, it was almost like I knew this was coming. The results aren't good enough. Even his statement, all perfectly pleasant and polite, as is the Graham Potter way. But I think the most important thing was, I realised the results were nowhere near good enough. So it doesn't matter what your philosophy is or how polite you are or aren't to the media. You've got to win some football games. And I think the defeat to Palace was his 8th consecutive London Stadium game competitively without a win. So it's not good enough, really.
Will, I don't know if you prefer this, but Max has a vendetta against West Ham. I am completely indifferent to them. I'm not surprised that Graham Potter has been sacked, but I am surprised that Nuno is taking the job. Are you?
Yeah, I mean, I assume, you mean that from Nuno's point of view, given that he's a good manager.
Yes,
what's he
and
doing?
if he hangs around for a while, he'll get something better.
Yeah, potentially. So I wrote a piece for the paper this morning. It's quite interesting. West Ham had decided they were going to sack Potter 2 weeks ago after the defeat at home to Tottenham. Approached Nuno in the early stages of that week. He initially rejected it because there were some ongoing wranglings over his severance package with Nottingham Forest. And I don't think he was in a massive hurry to sort of rush back into work. I think he was quite looking forward to a bit of paid leave. And then obviously the equally meek display against Crystal Palace last week forced West Ham to go again. They had interviewed Gary O'Neill in that week as well, but Nuno was always very much their first choice. They went back to him again and said, okay. And he said, all right, fine, I'll take it if you can sort this thing out.
Fine.
And, yeah.
Oh, fine.
Yeah,
if I have
guess.
to.
Very much so, yeah. And I think that's probably is the position at the moment. It's an extremely difficult job. My colleague Jack Rosser writes a great piece in the paper this morning, sort of breaking down all of the things Nuno has to sort out, and unsurprisingly, it takes up an entire page to itself. Because there's loads of stuff, not loads of leadership. About 3 players you'd say have got legitimate talent, which is Bowen, Paqueta and Somerville. No real confidence, no real obvious leaders. So it is a tough situation to walk into. But I think similar to when David Moyes came last time, West Ham are a club at the moment, just for Premier League survival, who need a bit of that old school organisational sort of, that sort of style of a manager at the moment, just to at least make sure we're in the Premier League next season and then go again. But it does feel like we're sort of back to this stage of the cycle. And we sort of all know what happens from here.
When David Moyes left, some people said to West Ham fans, "You'll be careful what you wish for," and obviously,
me, I said that.
Yeah, okay. Everyone's gone, so everything's gone pear-shaped now. Excuse me. Are the fans who wanted Moyes out still sticking to their guns, saying, "Oh, we were right"? It's just that we didn't get the right replacement in. And I suppose what I'm asking, and it's quite a broad question. What do West Ham fans want?
Well, this is sort of my weekly or bi-weekly session now, Barry, where I talk about David Moyes and then I open Twitter up in the next half an hour and get hammered by West Ham fans for suggesting David Moyes was a good manager. But I'm happy to be that guy. I don't think it's quite as simple as that. Firstly, I think it's important to note West Ham fans definitely do not think as one body.
Yes.
There are many different schools of thought within the large and passionate fan base. I think there's a realisation now for some people, even who would say, look, it wasn't good enough under David Moyes for the last 6 months, regardless of the context of that. No one thought it was good, me included, that last 6 months. Even those people who go, no, it wasn't good enough, I think realise now, given the way the club's set up as well, that and I'm sure with the ownership and the way it's run, that ultimately we've now had 2 sort of further experiments on top of Pellegrini and Bilic and all the ones that went before, of trying to play a bit more of an attacking, attractive brand of football. I think there's an acknowledgement at least that while the current owners are in situ, or there's no other choice for this part of the season than to bring in a manager who's just at least going to organise us and not make us so easy to score against at corners, and who will just sort of defend and actually will be in a few games on 80 minutes rather than London Stadium being totally empty because we're 3-0 down to someone.
There, set your sights high. Well, that's what you got. That's what you've got until May. Can't wait. Mate, thanks for coming on, Will. Appreciate your time as always.
Thanks,
Will.
Will Pugh there, Sunsport journalist as well, and from We Are West Ham podcast as well. Aaron says, are you planning to cancel any other items from today's show due to a lack of time? These are arguably the only things that get people through the show. I've asked West Ham to hold their comms until lunchtime. As yet, everything in place as you would expect, beginning with a Premier League review in just a second.
What a dramatic day of news and events in the Premier League. Jensen, he gets to the edge of the area. Jensen's going to go for goal and win the game with an absolute stunner. Manchester United have beaten again.
Another reason why Erling Haaland stayed on the pitch, Mickey Gray.
Yeah, he's got his second. Manchester City 5, Burnley 1, and it is Erling Haaland.
And it's the equaliser from the super sub, Federico Chiesa, with 3 minutes of normal time remaining.
A red card for Trevor Chalobah. So Chelsea down to 10 men.
It's Leeds 2, Bournemouth 2. It comes from a set piece.
The points are sealed. It's Chelsea 1, Brighton 3. Danny Welbeck.
That Chiesa equaliser, 3 minutes from time, may win it, and it may not, because Eddie Nketiah has just blasted in from the corner of the 6-yard box. Selhurst Park erupts. Sunderland, promoted via the playoffs in May, are sitting in the Champions League places in the Premier League. It's the unpredictable Premier League, at least at the start of the season. Just over 90 seconds remain. Wolves fans, you're nearly there. In by Tell, hit by Paulinho! He's put it in the bottom corner! On a day of late goals in the Premier League, dramatically, Tottenham 1, Wolves 1.
Yeah, Wolves fans, it's Joe Shannon's fault, isn't it? He said, you're nearly there. Oh, actually, you're not. Where should we start, Barris? Good day of football yesterday. We should start at Selhurst Park, probably, shouldn't we?
Well, there's any number of places we can start, because every single game yesterday was good. It wasn't a dud on match of the day. Not one.
Yeah, it finished with a 2-2 draw.
Yeah.
That's extraordinary. You normally have a couple of 0-0s towards the end. I thought maybe they were unlucky that Spurs-Wolves wasn't the last one. But anyway, well done, Crystal Palace. I just thought when Chiesa equalised, I was like, you can't have. That's so jammy. Right?
I thought you were going to say something else there. You can't.
No, I have nothing but positive.
I know you'll be back in Australia in a few days, but come on.
I'm nothing but positive thoughts for Federico Chiesa. I like him as a footballer. But, considering Palace should have been, 3 up before Liverpool really had a chance of note. Maybe even 4. I don't know. Alisson made 3 good saves. Mateta hit the post. And you thought, and then they scored and you're like, okay, this is great. And but then I didn't notice actually the Salah handball in the for Chiesa goal. Did you see that? Did you think?
No, I only became aware of it afterwards when there were lots of conspiracy theories circulating on social media about how the PGMOL, for reasons no one has yet to explain to me in an even remotely satisfactory way, are hell-bent on making sure that Liverpool win the Premier League. So if anyone knows that, get in touch and tell us why the PGMOL want Liverpool to win the Premier League. But I didn't notice it.
No, I didn't notice it either. And so, we're not VARs, but maybe they can be forgiven. I've watched it quite a lot of times, and maybe I'll just, whatever you say, I'll get yelled at if it does brush his hand. Anyway, doesn't matter. Then Eddie Nketiah scored, which I really liked. I loved how originally when he scored, he was like, he was just looked totally nonplussed, like, this is what I do. And I was like, I don't think you do it very often, Eddie. And then
I think he did it about 4 years ago, did he, for Arsenal against Bournemouth?
But then after the VAR wait, we got the true emotion of like, this actually really means a lot. And it must mean a lot to him because it's not been a brilliant move for him. It's great for the title race. It's great for Crystal Palace, who are a brilliant football team, who are still unbeaten. And I was thoroughly delighted with what happened.
Yes, and I think the highlight of the game for me was when Nketiah scored that winner. Oliver Glasner went to sprint down the touchline, but then stopped very abruptly, turned around and ran back. And it was the bit between him stopping and turning, his little legs kept spinning, and it was like the Road Runner.
Well, he's got slippy shoes on, hasn't he? Even though his train's a bit slippy on that turf.
But there is a specific cartoon noise, which I should have asked producer Reese to get before the show, but you know the one where his I'm not even going to attempt to do it.
No, it's quite hard to attempt, but everyone knows what it is.
Yes.
But yes, I suppose we do now know the braking distance of Oliver Glasner, which is important if you're doing your driving theory test anytime soon. So look, well done, Palace. Great win for them. Great win for Brentford. Why did anyone say Man United were back? I mean, I don't want to throw Charlie Baker under the bus, but he was like, United against
I heard him yesterday talking about how easily Manchester United were going to win this game. I was shaking my head going, Charlie, careful now. What struck me about this game, it was a brilliant performance from Brentford. Manchester United pretty much, they put a load of Sideshow Bob rakes down in front of them, and Manchester United just stepped on every single one and got splattered in the face with a handle. And they weren't the most sophisticated tactics in the world, but they worked because...
Yes.
But I think what struck me about this game was at the end when United's players slunk over to the corner of the ground where their fans were, or what was left of their fans, to applaud them. I think it's the first time in Amarim's reign I've seen them look genuinely ashamed of themselves. I think,
Do you think so?
The penny has finally dropped that we are not elite footballers. We are useless.
Charlie's been in touch to say, first time I've ever been wrong. Yeah, I mean, the only thing you could say in their defence, which is not much, is that how Nathan Collins isn't sent off for that foul in the penalty area when he clearly has not. If you're pulling someone's shirt at about shoulder height, it is not an attempt to get the ball. That's not what that is. So unless I don't understand the laws of the game,
no, you're dead right.
Card.
What was infuriating about that from a United perspective was the penalty was given, and then there was a VAR intervention to see if Collins should have been sent off. Of course he should have been. But that VAR check took 4 minutes. All the while, Fernandes is waiting to take the penalty.
Do you think it's the guy from The Vicar of Dibley who just goes, no, 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 yes?
This may come as a shock to you, Max, but I have never in my life watched an episode of The Vicar of Dibley.
Had you ever watched the episode of The Vicar of Dibley?
I think I've heard enough about The Vicar of Dibley to know that watching it would have been just a waste of time.
Had you watched it, you'd have really got that reference.
Okay.
And it would have really landed. It will have landed across the nation and across the world. Text me if you got the reference. But yeah, how it took 4 minutes, I don't know. I have absolutely no idea.
But 4 minutes to get it wrong. That's what's extraordinary. Yeah, we're going to pick over this for 4 minutes and then get it wrong.
Do you think they got it right at any time?
No.
Like after a minute, do you think they got it right? And then they got it right. You know, like when someone's like toying over, they've got two possible answers on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and they're going, "Oh, I think it's Kestrel. No, it's Osprey. No, it's Kestrel."
Are you saying they were trying to be too clever, Max?
I don't know. I don't know how they did that. Bayern did make some good saves in this game, so that was a nice touch, wasn't it?
I would argue that the reason he made those good saves is because he wasn't doing the basics in the first place. So the reason he stopped two bullet headers at corners was because he hadn't come for the corners.
Right, I understand. So he's standing in the wrong place, which makes him look good. Adam says, elite level referencing, Max. Says Adam, thank you so much. Keep those coming, please.
Do I need to go home and watch an episode of The Vicar of Dibley?
I got it, Max, and it was hilarious, says Dom in Ruislip. Keep them coming. This is great. You have to watch the entire, I don't know how many series they were. Watch them all and come back next Sunday, and then at the top of the show say, I got the reference.
More or less funny than Last of the Summer Wine?
Oh, more funny. Oh, it's funnier than that.
Does Dawn French
roll
down the hill
very funny
in a bathtub?
She doesn't roll down. I mean, there is some slapstick in there.
Right.
There's a Christmas episode where she has to have like 7 Christmas dinners, and she's too polite to say. So she's sort of running between houses eating. That's an absolute classic. And Brentford fans will be slightly annoyed with how we've reviewed this game. But anyway, lovely pass from Henderson. He did it last week as well. I think these forward passes that actually he's good at, and maybe he should play for England. Great finish from Igor Thiago in the Jeff Hurst arc, wasn't it? I really enjoyed. The third goal. Like, the break is so good. Yarmolenko is great in it. And just how Jensen absolutely thumped that ball like a shoot size 5. It was like a flyaway. It just went everywhere, didn't it? I really, really, really enjoyed it. And I thought actually Michael Richards on Match of the Day broke down quite well just quite how many formation changes Man United do and how many different positions the players play in.
Well, no, the formation stays the same. That never changes.
Sorry. Oh, my apologies, of course. Of course it does.
That's the problem.
That is
it's just the personnel. It's like musical chairs. Right, whose turn is it to be left wing back for this 10 minutes?
Lenny Yoro has played in every position in 8 minutes. What do you think about Sir Gareth Southgate getting the gig? I mean, I'm all here for it, just for lots of handbrake references that will instantly come in if he gets the job.
Well, if he gets the job, then it might take the heat off Mikel Arteta even for being too cautious and defensive. So that is all I'm going to say. You know what I think about Gareth Southgate as a manager.
I do, yeah.
You're goading me. You're prodding me with a stick. I think he's reasonably okay, but I think if he had not been in charge, England would have won at least one major competition in the last 3.
Aaron says, as you said that Vicar of Dibley reference, a group of donkeys in front of me laughed. I doubt it was a coincidence. Morning, boys. Vicar of Dibley reference? No. Yes, I did get it, says Dave in Portishead. Does Barry only have Simpsons references? That's 2 in the first half hour. Finally, Max makes a funny reference and Barry doesn't get it. This partnership is elite, says Tom in London. We'll do more Premier League review in just a second. This is the warm-up on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins, doing what matters for the trade. Find out more at travisperkins.co.uk or download the app. The latest episode of talkSPORT Daily is available now. talkSPORT's Ollie Klink and Harry Simeon discuss whether Mikel Arteta is struggling to deal with the pressure of being in charge of Arsenal this season. Tune in on the talkSPORT app or wherever you get your podcasts right now. Ideally, listen to this programme and then listen to that. Should we go to Stamford Bridge, Barry?
Yeah, if you so desire, yes.
Why not? Chelsea won, Brighton 3. Lots to get through on this. We did get a text from Matt saying, could you clear up an argument? Which was quite a long time ago. He says it was Danny Welbeck's header a diving header or not? Which I thought was quite an interesting question. Because to me, I thought he did quite well not to get concussed when it hit him, when Minter's cross hit him in the head. It was such a brilliant cross. And he just had to stand there, really, and let it hit him. It was he was brilliant, Danny Welbeck, as Brighton were, I thought.
I very much had it in the bullet header category.
Yeah. Absolutely spot on.
And then when I saw the replay, that was on first view. Then when I saw the replay, is it bullet header? It's certainly not a diving header. I think, if anything, he had to lean backwards a little bit, didn't he? But,
can you dive and lean? Can you dive backwards?
Yes, you can.
Possible? Yeah, there you go. I mean,
I don't know if you've seen the Olympics, Max. Tom
What's
Daly
the Olympics? A reference it's a reference I don't get.
Maybe nobody on the Vicar of Dibley ever dived backwards down a hill in a bathtub.
I understand that, but a diving header is different to a triple somersault with pike, isn't it? Boingy boingy, going backwards and inwards.
Now you're going into Dad's Army territory, bringing up pike. Really reeling through the greatest sitcom hits here.
Wow,
no, it wasn't a diving header.
Godfrey, what a character. Anyway, do carry on.
I'm saying bullet header, but I'm not sure how much he knew about it, but it was a very good goal.
Simon Hooper isn't Northern. It's very exciting to hear a referee's voice that isn't from the same village somewhere near Leeds. And I can understand why he didn't get that Chalobah foul straight away, because the way the ball moves looks like the defender kicks it. And it is all Santos's fault. He should Chalobah should say, can I pass this red card on to the guy who gave the ball away in the first place, who did then get hooked. But the second week in a row where terrible defending has cost Chelsea a player and has cost them the game, basically.
Yes, it was terrible defending. I'll be honest, I'm struggling to remember much about this game, so I'll just let you crack on.
No, that's fine.
I remember the Welbeck header.
Right, so you remember the red card. So you remember Chelsea are 1-up, right? Yeah, you remember that bit. Enzo Fernandez, bit of luck with the cross. Then you remember, this is like talking, it's like Barry's lost his memory. And then I come over every Sunday and just tell him what's happened.
I'll be honest, Max, there's a very good chance this could happen in the next 30 years. So you might as well get used to it.
Are they treating you well?
And you'll have to feed me.
Are they treating you well? Then there's that amazing cross from Minter, and Welbeck heads the ball home. Then there is what I thought was a blatant penalty.
Oh, yes, Malo Costa on Yankuba Minter.
Kicks him in the head.
I have a note here. Kicks him in the head. No penalty. What? Question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark. There.
I have, how is that cleared? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. But I don't know how long they took for that one. But, I don't want to use any other reference. I don't have a sitcom reference from the 80s or 70s to go with that. But I have no idea how that wasn't a penalty. But Brighton deserved it. They got there in the end. Well done to them. Really, really big
I wasn't
win.
surprised by this result, to be honest. And I do think it's hilarious that Chelsea have hosed, about 300 million quid at Brighton over the last few years in a bid to be Brighton. Surely it would have been cheaper just to buy Brighton and stick a Chelsea badge up over the front gate.
Maybe they could just sell Brighton to themselves without Brighton knowing. I mean, Tony Bloom would probably know, and then they would own it.
Yeah, he's a pretty shrewd operator.
But you can imagine, Brighton fans going to Stamford Bridge. It's obviously not a rivalry, but I reckon if you're a Brighton fan, you really, really love winning at Stamford Bridge. Should we do your boys? Sunderland, flying.
Yeah, another magnificent victory. Excuse me. A really good win for them. I'll be honest, the goal came from a free kick they shouldn't have been awarded. But these things happen, and these are the kind of decisions I suppose you have to remember when inevitably further down the track decisions go against you, because I do believe these things even them out. So there's no big conspiracy. The ref just made a mistake.
So do you think it was? He was slightly caught. He was just caught, and then
I don't think it was a free kick. I think just two players contested a 50-50 ball, and one of them was very unfairly penalised for simulation. Sunderland. So the free kick's given. It's up to Forest. You have to defend it, and they didn't. Sunderland scored for not the first time this season. The Robin Roof, the Sunderland keeper.
What a player!
Brilliant performance. He made a mistake in one game. I can't remember who it was against. He let in a soft one, but apart from that, he has been outstanding, as have many Sunderland players. Sunderland are fourth in the table. Obviously, it's very early, so they'll probably finish higher than that and qualify. They may even win the title. Who knows? But this is a team that's more or less assembled over the summer. They're still getting used to each other, and they're already playing really well. They're off to Old Trafford next week. I think they'll win.
I'm just not a surprising prediction.
No,
you know what I mean? I'm just not. No, I'm like, yeah, they probably should, shouldn't they? I did write about Robin Roofs as well. None of his saves I thought were spectacular, but he saved them all, and it just gives the whole team. There's so much confidence in that back four because Robin Roofs is there. He is
Granit Xhaka as well. What a signing! Yeah. That is an inspirational signing.
Man City 5, Burnley 1. I mean, it is always fun when one player scores two own goals, isn't it? It's probably not great for Esteve, but it's fun for the rest of us. And he was slightly unlucky with both, but they were a bit... If you keep doing that, people will think, this guy can't kick it in the right direction. We should have a look at someone else. But
he was also at fault for City's last goal.
Oh, the last goal was probably my favourite of the day. It was so Sunday League. Just everyone else would have been shouting, one of you, put a name on it. Because you just never see it at that level, do you? Just two centre-backs both going for the same header.
Yeah. Contriving to head it backwards, a backwards diving header straight into the path of, not him, damn, Erling Haaland.
Don't do that. But actually, it's not papering over the cracks, because cracks is the wrong phrase, but certainly papering over the craps is the wrong phrase. Burnley were in this game for quite a long time.
Papering over the craps is what you do when the flusher is broken, isn't it? You just kind of drop paper over.
Leave the restaurant. I've got to go, pay the bill and get out. Absolutely right.
I bet you don't get gags like that on the Vicar in Dibley, Max.
Do you know what's exactly the sort of gag you would get, I think? They had chances at 1-1, Burnley.
No, they were decent.
They were okay. Yeah.
Scott Parker talking afterwards, it reminded me of that time. Do you remember when Laurie Sanchez was manager of Fulham many, many years ago? And they kept being beaten every week, but they were always leading with 70 minutes gone, and then they would lose. And Laurie Sanchez kept coming out and said, well, if football matches were only 70 minutes long, we'd be second in the league. And he goes, yes, Laurie, But football matches are 90 minutes long, and they always have been.
Should we rattle through the rest of them? Leeds 2, Bournemouth 2. What did you make of this one?
I thought Leeds they'd have taken this result before the game, and they'd have been gutted that they didn't win it. The late equaliser they conceded was soft, a bit of a defensive shambles, but and Dominic Calvert-Lewin missed 3 very, very good chances.
He did.
One, I won't say a sitter, but a chance. I was going to say you'd expect him to score. It's exactly the kind of chance I would expect him not to score, but another striker to score. And then Petrovic, who's been a very good signing for Bournemouth, I think he made 2 good saves from Calvert-Lewin. Then they went ahead. Interestingly, the Semenyo free kick was low along the floor, under the wall.
Yes.
And the draft excluder, who I think
did
was
not work.
Brendan Aronson, wasn't long enough.
No.
There was still a bit of draft getting through. Because
you needed an extra. You needed an extra bit. My dad used to put, not just that we had like a snake, like a beanbag snake for the draft, but he'd also put like tissue paper in the keyhole when it was on a winter's day to really keep the draft out. And they didn't have the tissue paper. That's where the draft? When I was down,
because
that's not where the keyhole is.
Yeah,
you're right. The analogy doesn't work. Brendan Aronson is not tall enough to be that draft excluder. I should have just let you do it, Barry. I didn't need to join in on that one.
Well, I'm on fire today, Max, so I think you're trying to skid along on my coattails. You're the Shane Lowry to my Rory McIlroy.
I'll take it. I don't mind. Finally, Spurs 1, Wolves 1. Spurs probably should have been ahead at half-time.
I was gutted that Wolves let them equalise, because this was textbook Dr. Tottenham, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was, wasn't it?
We're at home against a team who hasn't won any of their 5 Premier League matches. I was thinking, yes, this is so set up for Wolves have an appointment at the surgery of Dr. Tottenham. Here's some cure-all. Wolves have 3 points, and it almost came to pass. So I suppose we can take from this that Thomas Frank has done quite a good job yet, but there's still a lot of Tottenham to get out of that Tottenham side.
I think you're right. And just one thing on Paulinho. Great finish, but you can't take your shirt off if it's not a winner. Like, let's get back to the centre circle, lads. That's just a waste of time. It's a draw against Wolves. I wouldn't be doing that. Anyway, we've done all the games. Well done, Barry. You and I, we are the best. And it is the warm-up on talkSPORT.
In the Zone on talkSPORT. Brought to you by Final One Standing. New from William Hill. 18 plus gambleaware.org. Terms and conditions apply.
Let's look at the latest odds ahead of today's action with William Hill, with Lee Phelps. Hey, Lee, you good?
Yeah, really good, thank you. How are you?
Very good. I saw you. I saw you on the Goals Show on YouTube when Marcus Speller and Quaker were hugging when Palace scored that winner. They didn't hug you, Lee. I don't know why. You're on the other side of the desk. There's not a rift in the Goals Show camp, is there?
No, I think Sam Allard and his face was in the middle of me and them two. Being a Liverpool fan, he wasn't exactly getting involved in the hugging, so I think they stayed away. It seemed to divide a lot of people. A lot of people enjoyed the hugging, and there were some people, presumably who generally wear red to home games, weren't as happy in the comments. I think it's fair to say.
Oh, is that right? Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah. Well, it's good to get a reaction in some way. That's why me and Barry are such shock jocks. We don't believe a word we say, but we like to provoke opinion.
Yeah, but Max and I have only hugged twice ever.
True.
And I didn't give my all to one of them, I'll be honest.
No.
Well, kind of one of those where your arms go a bit stiff and you don't quite do the on the back.
Yes, like penguin. Yes, one occasion was when I was leaving the country and we didn't know when we'd see each other again. That one he wasn't that into. One was when this show lost its, I would describe, third wheel, and it was just the two of us again. And that was a hug that Barry did with gusto.
Yes.
Anyway, what's coming up today? The Premier League. You want to give us the title and the relegation odds?
Well, yeah, just after, obviously, Liverpool's dramatic late loser against Palace. They've gone 11-8. Arsenal 6-4 now, so they've really tightened up at the top two, and obviously depends what Arsenal do this afternoon. City have come into 9-2 from 6-1 after their big win over Burnley. And at the bottom, Brentford were a shorter price than Leeds and Sunderland to be relegated. They've kind of leapfrogged them towards safety, if you like, 100-30. So it's Burnley who are still 1-3 favourites to be relegated. And then you've got West Ham and Wolves and West Ham next. And then Sunderland, Leeds, Brentford. So, Nuno's appointment hasn't changed the betting on West Ham to be relegated. But I guess we'll find out more on Monday night, won't we, on that one?
Lee, I find it slightly insulting that you're including Sunderland in the relegation market. What price are they to win the title? Do you happen to know off the top of your head?
Sunderland to win the title are 500-1.
Right. I would say that's
Burnley
quite...
1,500-1.
Yeah, okay.
You happy with that? 500?
I think it's a bit mean. I think you could stick another 0 on that. I might have a fiver on it.
You probably could. 6-4 Sunderland are to be relegated.
Right. No chance.
Villa, Fulham and Newcastle, Arsenal today. How do you see them going?
Yeah, Villa are a strange team this season, aren't they? They're 13-10 to win this one. The draw's 21-10. Fulham 11-5. Fulham have had a decent enough start to the season. You just wonder where the goals will come from. I'm always a little bit worried about saying Villa won't score, because maybe they've just got all the goals are going to come out in one game and then you end up looking stupid. There's been no sign of that, to be honest. And Ollie Watkins doesn't look on top form, and Morgan Rogers obviously doesn't. But Villa 13-10. I think the draw, maybe a score draw. We've got an epic boost on this, and that's Rodrigo Muniz to have a shot on target, even money, from 2 to 5. It's a max bet of a tenner. He averages over a shot on target in Premier League games last season and this. So over a shot on target or more for Rodrigo Muniz is the epic boost on that game. And Newcastle Arsenal 5-2 Newcastle, which I'm sure a lot of our Geordie listeners will like the sound of that. 11-5 the draw. Arsenal 11-10. A lot of interest on Saka and Gyökeres scoring. We've got a price boost on Saka to score, Arsenal to win, and both teams to score, 9-1. And that's really popular at the minute. I just think if Arsenal go for it and try and win this game with the team they've got at their disposal, I think 11-10 is a good price. We just don't know if that's going to be the case, do we? But and a lot of attention on Ryder Cup, of course. Have you guys been watching the Ryder Cup?
Oh, yes.
Oh, of course, yeah. I think we can do it, Lee. I think we can do it.
1-50 we are to do. The Royal Europe, to do it. 11.5, 4.5. So need 3 more points to win it. There's a few price boosts. Europe to win 17-11 as a correct score, 7-1. And how about this for a treble? 3 of the kind of heroes of the last couple of days. Tommy Fleetwood to beat Justin Thomas in the second match. Rory McIlroy to beat Scotty Scheffler in the 4th match. And in the 10th one, when it should be done by then, Tyrrell Hatton to beat Colin Morikawa has been boosted to 8-1 as a treble. But you can bet on all the individual matches there. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how noisy the US fans are today.
Yeah, I'd say they might pipe down a bit today after what's happened the last 2.
Yeah, well, we'll talk to Rupert Bell about that in just a second. Aston Villa, by the way, Lee, scored 58 goals last season. So if they are going to offload them all today, it will be some afternoon, won't it? I look forward to that.
But, you know,
disappointing if they only got a draw. That would be disappointing, wouldn't it? Thanks, Lee. Good stuff.
Thanks, guys.
That was the latest odds brought to you by Final One Standing, new from William Hill. Terms and conditions apply. 18+, gambleaware.org.
In the Zone on talkSPORT. Brought to you by Final One Standing, new from William Hill. 18+, gambleaware.org. Terms and conditions apply.
Matt, the Spurs fan in Enfield, says, if I had a body like Paulinho, I'd never wear a shirt.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I have exactly the same body as Paulinho, and I'm always dressed. I like to just keep it hidden. This is brought to you with Travis Perkins, this wonderful radio programme. For the latest big trade deals, head to travisperkins.co.uk or download the app.
Tyson Fury, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez. Just hearing these names makes you think money and the hundreds of millions of dollars, pounds or Saudi riyals in boxing. But that's at the top. At the bottom, it isn't quite the same. Even for those on the rise, there's not an awful lot of cash in the boxing world. And if you're just starting out, well, it can be a very costly exercise indeed. But don't take my word for it. Here's the former European champion, talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver.
You're turning professional and you're boxing, let's say, York Hall on a non-televised fight. You have to sell tickets to earn any money, but you have to cover the wages of your opponent as well. So if you don't have the ability to be able to sell enough tickets, you effectively have to pay to fight.
A far cry then from Jake Paul facing Mike Tyson in 2024, when the purse was reported to be around £48 million. But the vast amounts of cash lining the top dog's pockets isn't the norm in a typical fight.
Let's say you're lucky and you get between 5 and 10 grand. You're going to get 10 grand max for that. 10% goes to the trainer, 25% goes to the manager. Then we've got the tax man to pay as well. So we're cutting that money in at least half. So now you've got 5 grand for a 10-week camp. So you're talking about a guy here earning, he might be clearing 500 quid a week. How do you support a family on that? So boxers chase the dream. And, you know, there's probably 2% of them that actually make it.
So say you do make it and you start to rise up the ranks. Strikers Boxing, a training academy, says the mid-tier fighters can earn more, somewhere between £10,000 and £50,000 a fight, depending on record, profile, opponent and popularity of weight class. It's only at the top level does the real cash start flowing in, with the top-tier professionals, i.e. those going for titles, earning 6 figures a fight. Something else you'll have heard of is the terms prize fighter or journeyman. A prize fighter is, as it sounds, someone who picks up fights where they can and gets a nice big check if they win. Journeymen are the fighters who take on up-and-comers, effectively used for experience in the ring. Even if they're going up against a real prospect, a young Anthony Joshua, for example, these guys will be lucky to earn more than 10 grand. So the average boxer isn't as rich as you'd think.
Good afternoon. You are listening to the warm-up on talkSPORT. Max Rushden and Barry Glendenning with you until 1:30. Footballer game coming up shortly. Adam Bridge and Perry Groves. And me and Barry will take each other on in, I was going to say, it's a quiz. It's a bit of fun. It's not the best one on the radio. Maybe it is. I really enjoy it. Anyway, Pally in sunny Halifax, Barry says, morning chaps, don't know if you've already done this because I've just got back from a weekend in the lakes and just tuned in, but can we talk about the Ryder Cup prior to us smashing those American chumps today and their appalling behaviour yesterday, and of course just how sweet it's going to be when we do them today and they're all crying like the spoilt babies that they are. Please. OK, why not? Here's Rupert Bell, who's been out there. How are you, Rupert?
Very well, thank you. Looking forward to, well, it just feels like it's just going to be a bit of an exhibition day because the job's been done. There's nothing going to stop Europe winning, maybe by a record margin, because they have been magnificent. You know, with the lead they've got, they only need 2.5 points to retain the cup. Should be pretty routine when we get underway. What, I think 5 o'clock your time.
Can I ask about the the behaviour. Sometimes, when you watch the news about, I don't know, riots in London, and I was in London during the riots, and of course they were bad in places, but the news gave the impression that the whole city was burning, and it wasn't. And because the news is just every American fan is awful, and they're all swearing at Rory McIlroy and getting in his face, is the atmosphere that bad? Or when you're there, are there actually most American fans are fine, and it's just a kind of small minority?
I think you'd say that most of them are fine, but there are quite a lot of idiots. And unfortunately, the idiots then spoil it for everybody else. And at times, it was very unedifying. There's no two ways about it. I was speaking to a lot of Americans afterwards, and they were appalled at the behavior of their compatriots at times. And some of it was just unnecessary, and particularly in that first part of the afternoon session. And Rory McIlroy was getting a lot of flack. And as he said, look, I'm pretty used to it, but don't do it when I'm playing my shot. But actually what it was, there was some really nasty personal stuff, not only directed at him, Shane Lowry and other members, but also his wife, who had to leave normally they follow within the ropes, but she could hear it all, decided, I'm going to leave and go back to the clubhouse, came out at the end. It was wrong. And because we ended up with policemen with dogs, everything just got out of hand. You actually have to say the PGA of America really didn't get a grip of it early enough. And I know at times the Europeans were sort of responding, and he was waving at them and sort of encouraging them a little bit. But actually what was being said was downright nasty and just way beyond what probably any player or anybody would deem acceptable.
Yeah, Rupert, we've seen a lot of witless, braying, obnoxious behaviour, and I suppose the most witless, obnoxious golf fan of them all was there on Friday in Donald Trump. Do you think his presence had anything to do with it? Like, is this a New York thing, a Trump thing, an America thing, or is it just it's load of entitled people drinking too much beer?
There's a lot of it. The latter one of those statements is absolutely true, but there's some America, it's a societal thing, I think, in America. And obviously golf is seen as probably Trump's home patch, and a lot of the supporters would be his, people who come to the Ryder Cup will be his support base. But it's not just him. You can't blame Donald Trump for this behavior. You can, although the American society at large, it just was, the Ryder Cup often we've seen it in America before, get a little, when the Kiowa Island back in 91 was known as the War on the Shore. At Brookline in 1999, the behavior was deemed to be at times way above what was deemed acceptable. So, but at the moment, what we saw yesterday was a step too far. And you may have to take a wider issue in what's going on in this country. But when you've got Keegan Bradley, their captain, running down the fairway with his flag, and it just sort of over the top sort of histrionics, that's part of the problem. And, when they get fueled up by the end of the afternoon, they're drunk, bars are open from 9 o'clock. It's a long day. I'm afraid I was standing back at the 14th, and it was all right where I was, but there was still some idiots shouting stuff. And fair play to some Americans around. They did tell them to shut up. So it just was an unedifying spectacle. But the best thing about it, though, is the Europeans firmly put them into place. And you just watched the Americans leaving yesterday. They were walking out shell-shocked with their tail between their legs. So it didn't do them any good, but behaving like they did.
Yeah, the line isn't great, but it is worth persevering because it's such a big story, and it's so great how Europe are playing, Rupert. And that's the funny thing is, there is a tiny part of me that wishes it was closer, because the jeopardy when the singles get tight is one of the greatest things in sport, and it is almost impossible that will happen today because Europe will just win. I mean, we're just so far ahead. Who has impressed you the most? Like, Tommy Fleetwood's record is perfect. The way Justin Rose has putted has been absolutely sensational. There have been other moments, like Fitzpatrick, that shot on the 18th, wasn't it? There have just been so many brilliant moments. If you were going to pick out a couple of players or a couple of moments, what would you pick?
John Rahm, chipping in at a bunker on 8. His shot on the rough on the first day that set the momentum in the foursomes. John Rahm has been an inspiration. Tommy Fleetwood, he's won 4 points, and in America have only managed to muster 4.5 between them. He's been outstanding. The list goes on. Justin Rose in a match yesterday, playing alongside Tommy Fleetwood. He's 45 years of age, and this was just one of the epic encounters. But Fleetwood and Rose matched Scotty Scheffler and Bryson DeChambeau. It got a bit feisty at one stage, a bit of a spat between the caddy and Justin Rose and Bryson DeChambeau. But Justin Rose stepped up to the plate magnificently. So actually, you even players like Bob McIntyre, who came back yesterday to play so well after disappointing maybe himself on the first day, you actually can say that this 12-man team, most of them have stepped up to the plate and probably in their own minds have played better than even they expected.
And Rupert, in stark contrast, Scotty Scheffler, who's so good on his own, has had a disastrous Ryder Cup. Are you surprised by that?
I think we all are a bit, because he's been so dominant as a player on the regular circuit. And what he did at the Open Championship, what he's done at another stroke play, but he's turned up here and he just looks, he can't find any inspiration. I mean, there were a couple of shots that he hit yesterday, one on 18 where they were playing in the final match. He almost looked like he shanked it. I mean, and then a putter, when he lost his match, I was there standing at the back of the 16, and he left his putt short and just didn't seem to be anywhere near himself. He's a bit like Tiger Woods, whose reputation outside the Ryder Cup was fearsome. But as soon as he turns up at the Ryder Cup, they just seem to lose their mojo. And Scotty Scheffler just couldn't find any inspiration. He's going to be playing Rory McIlroy this afternoon, so at least that gives there will be a competitive edge to that. I'm thinking it'll be playing for pride, so at least we could see some excellent golf there. And Tiger Woods was often better in the singles, but put Scotty Scheffler with somebody else, he didn't seem to know what to do. So it's very interesting to see how poor he's been.
So look, we need 3 points. Who hits the winning putt, do you reckon, Rupert?
It's got to be Rory.
If it's Rory, then that would just be perfect. And there's no reason, because he's fourth out.
Yeah.
So get the job done. They are top loading it with their players. So matches 4, 5 and 6. I haven't got the list fully in front of me, but if Rory does it, it would be the icing on the cake. Yeah. That will be the thing that finally says to the American golfers and the golf fans, look, you gave me jip, but I've actually got to make sure we've won the thing. So you look idiots now.
Lovely stuff, Rupert. Thanks for coming on. Getting up early, I presume, to do that. Enjoy the final days. The singles, they start at 5:02. Cam Young, Justin Rose leading the way. Then Justin Thomas against Fleetwood. DeChambeau, Fitzpatrick, Scheffler, McIlroy, 5:35. And that's it. Those four, that'll do it, won't it? Which is great to know. Could you imagine, says Gavin in Musselburgh, if the state of the place, if the Americans were drinking proper beer and not that light rubbish that they do, it'd be like a scene out of The Walking Dead. And Craig says, Barry, you're clearly a hard left socialist. Fancy leaving your political slant out of this sports radio show? Thanks. Commie Baz. There you are.
Yeah. Can I just say, actually, Rupert said there you can't blame Trump for what's happening at that golf course.
I don't disagree with you. And like the descent of America into autocracy is terrifying. Sorry, Craig. And we should all be very, very worried about it and hope that it doesn't happen here. The footballer game is next. This is brought to you with Travis Perkins. I don't know their political beliefs. Doing What Matters for, we'll find out next week. Doing What Matters for the Trade. Find out more at travisperkins.co.uk or download the app. Good afternoon. You are listening to... yes, Barry, you're pointing at me.
I just wanted to raise an order of business, Max. During that bit where we were banging the world to rights and I was being a wishy-washy liberal, it has been drawn to my attention that while we were on the air, our teenagers working behind the scenes, George, Meg and Gab, all abandoned their post to run outside of the control room to get selfies with top Hollywood movie star Matthew McConaughey, who was in a studio further down the hall. Not that one, the other one.
Right. Okay.
I think that's incredibly unprofessional, and I'm just asking you if it's okay if we sack them all.
Is Matthew McConaughey playing the footballer game? Because if he is, I think it's okay.
No, Reese, producer Reese, didn't get him to, didn't ask
Imagine if Matthew
McConaughey
got Russell Beardsmore in one guess. That would be a thing. Yeah, they'd never ask for selfies of us.
No.
You know, when I'm in the country, when you're there every day, every week, they don't care, do they? They just see us as normal people, and yet McConaughey...
But something really important could have happened, and they literally just ran away. Imagine if I did that. I'll be honest, I'd have done it too if I'd known Matthew McConaughey was outside, but I didn't.
What's your favourite Matthew McConaughey film?
Probably Wolf of Wall Street, because it's the only one I can think of off the top of my head.
Don't ask me for another one. But but he's a talented actor.
Isn't
he doesn't
there
need us.
isn't
Hopefully he's not in the
there a movie where he
lift.
does something?
Is he in the lift listening to us now?
Matthew McConaughey.
Well, it's really good.
He mumbles a lot. He
does. There's nothing.
Mumbles in these films.
Yeah, so that's why he's not doing breakfast on Virgin Radio. Unless he was auditioning to take breakfast at Talk Radio, that would be an interesting move. Anyway, joining us for the footballer game, Perry Groves and Adam Bridge, who are both at Villa Park. Gentlemen, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
How's it going, boys? You good?
Yeah, very good. Now, Perry, would you rather spend time with me and Barry or Matthew McConaughey?
To be fair, it's not even in the equation, Mac. Not even the equation. Matthew McConaughey.
That is... Yeah. Oh, well, that's a grave disappointment. Now, what's coming up on your excellent programme, please, Perry, after us?
Well, I'm at Villa Park with Adam. We're going to be doing the Villa Fulham game. Newcastle Arsenal, we'll reports that later on, and a build-up and preview. Men in Black, not a lot to talk about from yesterday, to be fair. West Ham versus Chelsea in the WSL. Rupert Bell reports from the Ryder Cup. Obviously, we need 3 points for Europe to stick it up the USA, which is really funny. And Will Gavin will give us a little report and preview of Minnesota Vikings against Pittsburgh Steelers in the NFL in Dublin.
I think he's doing that for us as well. Do you want to? Do you want to own
double
him?
Bubble? Can't blame him.
Double bubble.
No, double bubble's all right, isn't it? Yeah, when the invoice goes in.
Mike from Nottingham says Barry's Matthew McConaughey impression sounds like a didgeridoo. You haven't seen that McConaughey feed. When McConaughey went method and pretended to be a didgeridoo for months to play the eponymous film Didgeridoo, that was his finest work. Adam, I have a question for you.
Yes.
You obviously have a theme tune on the Saturday warm-up where Charlie and I sing Bridge Over Troubled Water, and I think in a beautiful way. Do other people now sing it to you? Do you sing it to yourself?
Well, funnily enough, last night I was at an 8-hour music quiz with Jim Proudfoot, esteemed commentator, Sal Ahmed, top producer. 8 hours. 4 o'clock yesterday until midnight. 1,000 clips of songs.
That's 1,000 intros, and you have to get them?
Yeah, 1,000 clips of songs, yes. So it's 40 rounds of 25 clips. And guess what came up?
That? Well, every song ever, I presume.
Well, but in particular what came up was Bridge Over Troubled Waters, and Sal turned round and started singing to me.
Good.
That's when you know
I still don't quite understand. Who is devising a 1,000-question quiz, and who is agreeing to go?
Well, I got press-ganged into it by Jim Proudfoot, who was desperate to win.
Right.
We didn't. We came second. We actually got 915 right out of the 1,000, which I think is pretty good.
It even takes a long time to count to 1,000, let alone actually sit there. The whole thing is mad. Are you raising money for charity? It was like a telethon.
No,
was
not
it just for pleasure?
Just for, well,
was it in a pub? Were you drinking?
It was at the Sky Blue Tavern in Coventry, yes. So there was alcohol, there was curry.
Right.
So it was worth it in that respect.
Kendall mint cake, just for keep your blood sugar levels up.
I was going to say, yes.
Was Frank Lampard there?
No, I'd left him earlier in the day, Barry. I did ask him to come, but he passed.
Okay, I'm not
Were
surprised.
there any other teams there, Adam? Were you the only team playing this quiz?
There were 15 teams, and we got
15
beaten by a
teams?
side. We got beaten by a team who scored 965 out of 1,000.
Did you give them evils?
Very much so through the entire night.
And what was the prize at the end of this 8-hour quiz?
A little trophy.
Did everyone survive?
No. Some guy got up about 9:30 and departed. He'd had enough.
I
at
just
that
thought
point.
but you might have lost a few. You might have had to, that's...
I mean,
well,
even a pub quiz with 6 rounds of 8 questions is too long for me.
1,000 questions. What
to be
world
fair,
is this? What alternate reality are you living in, Adam? It's extraordinary.
what we did lose was the will to live by about 10:30 when we realised we weren't going to win. But there we go.
What time did it finish?
Midnight.
I bet there was some Shazam going on, wasn't there?
Yeah,
Shazamming. I bet there was some cheating.
No Shazamming. No, not allowed
from
to
you.
Shazam.
No, I'm not saying you.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
obviously not.
I hate cheating at radio quizzes and pub quizzes, but when they say, and now question 862, even I'd be tempted. Anyway, and today's footballer game is 1,000 footballers. Here we go. Hey, Reece, how are you?
This feels slightly underwhelming by comparison. Yeah, I'm great, thank you.
Out of 10?
We'll go for 7, why not?
All right, let's play.
Our first footballer began his career at Bayer Leverkusen in 1994, staying until 1999, not scoring in any of his 26 appearances, taking in 2 years on loan at Wolfsburg between 97 and 99, scoring 6 in 48. Then
Stefan Freund.
Nope. Then moved to Scotland with
Stefan
Rangers.
Effenberg.
Nope.
Peter Lovenkrantz.
Nope. Where he scored 10 goals in 64 games between 1999 and 2001. He was then off to the Premier League with Sunderland between 01 and 03, scoring 3 in 28 before moving to Manchester City between 03 and 07, scoring 4 in 87 before finishing his career at the New York Red Bulls in the 07 season. No, not scoring in any of his 29 appearances.
I was going to go Rosler.
I was going to go Rosler.
I did go Rosler.
What about you, Baz? You going Rosler?
I'm going to go Rosler. Uwe Rosler.
No. He scored 8
Baz is
goals
having a Rizzler.
in 112 appearances between 1994 and 2006 for the United States of America.
Claudio Reyna.
It is Claudio.
It is Claudio Reyna.
Thanks, Barry, and thank you, Reece. Okay, Max 1, Barry 0, Adam 0, Perry 0. Question 2 of 1,000. Here we go.
Our second footballer began his career at the Portland Timbers in 1989, where he didn't score in any of his 10 appearances before moving to
Clint
Millwall.
Dempsey.
No, between 92 and 96, not scoring in any of his 175 appearances.
Casey Keller.
Yes, it is Casey Keller.
Okay. Max 2.
Max, you ever thought
Barry
about doing
Nil.
a music quiz?
Where were you last night,
didn't-
Max, when we needed you?
We did an intros quiz, me and Barry, a few Sundays ago, and Barry refused to ever play the game again. It turned out I'm actually better at that than anything else I've ever tried to do in my entire life. Here we go. Max 2, Perry, Adam, and Barry 0. Here we go. Here for the hat trick.
Our final footballer began his career at the New York Red Bulls between 2006 and 2008, scoring 15 goals in 37
Brian McBride.
games. Nope. He moved to Villarreal between 08 and 11, scoring
Eric
once in
Wijnaldum.
9. Nope. He then went on loan to
Joe
Xerez.
Max Moore.
Nope. He didn't score in any of his appearances for Xerez. He also went on loan to Hull in the 09-10 season, where he scored once in
Josie
28.
Altidore.
It is Josie Altidore.
There's the hat trick.
Thank you so
Well,
much. Yeah.
I have a baseball cap on and I'm doffing it, Max.
Yeah.
As we
Thank
speak.
you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Perry, because I think I deserve a bit of praise for that. I'm waiting to hear what Barry says.
I was going to wait till Reece got to Sunderland before I said Josie Altidore.
Right, okay. But you didn't.
No,
say it.
well, you beat me to it. So
I did, yes. Okay. Hey, thanks, everybody. Thanks for playing. It was nice to have some competition, or at least some people to play against. Yeah.
Max, you know the 1,000 questions? Here's
Yeah.
one for you. If you wrote
Okay.
out the numbers from 1 to 1,000, 1,000 is the only number that's got an A in it. I'll leave you that. There you go.
Is that right?
I could hear his brain cogs going round and round.
Hang
Mine
on.
are going too, Barry.
999,
hold on. If I
998,
write out
997.
502, the A has an A.
The and has an A
number.
in
It's
it.
not the A isn't a number, is it? Sorry, Baz. Sorry to be pedantic, but the A is not a number.
No, I'm the one being pedantic. You're wrong.
So yes, if
Number.
if Barry
only
writes-
number without an A in it. A isn't a number, is it?
and is a number. It's a word. What's happened to us?
It's not a number.
This is a conversation after this. It's an interesting point. I'm going to count down from 1,000 after the news, and we'll find out. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Perry. Enjoy the game.
Cheerio.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Will Gavin joins us in just a second. Sophie Nicolau as well will join us to do some Arsenal.
to his right, fires off the back foot. Calvin Austin, touchdown, Pittsburgh Steelers.
To grow the game in so many countries, so being a part of the first game in Ireland is pretty cool.
That was a thing of beauty, Mr. Aaron Rodgers.
Guinness on tap is my favorite beer in the world.
To the end zone, caught, touchdown! Are you kidding me with that catch? Justin Jefferson! How about this?
You know, just decided to go over and put on a show.
The Vikings! The Vikings are gonna win! Are you kidding?
Will be a heck of an experience and a great opportunity to try to compete against a really good football team.
Now, you might not have got all the references there, Barry, to Ireland.
Diddly music,
tick. Guinness,
tick.
Someone say, and I do like a potato as well.
I'll tell you something, Max. The GAA, the Gaelic Athletic Association, they're very picky about who they let play in Coke Park. So I'm saying the NFL must be giving them top dollar.
Right, you'll like this as well. It says here, this afternoon the NFL lands in Dublin, Ireland. So now you know where Dublin is. For the first time, talkSPORT 2 bringing you exclusive live coverage of Pittsburgh Steelers versus Minnesota Vikings. Will Gavin is here to tell us about it. Hey, well, we obviously had NFL in London. I don't know all the European cities it's been to, but this is big for Dublin.
Absolutely huge. They've been to, we'll go to Madrid this year, Berlin, Frankfurt, a lot in Germany as well. But the first time on the island of Ireland since they did a pre-season game here back in 1997. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, the home team today, their owner, Dan Rooney, was the former US ambassador to Ireland under Barack Obama before he passed away. The Rooney family still own the team. They won it in a card game in 1933, having moved from Dublin to Pittsburgh. And so the ties are there, and they have been buying into Dublin in a big way over the last 5 or 6 days. Barry, I think the NFL will have done you proud as an Irishman. It wasn't too much potatoes and Guinness, but it was a lot of celebration of the culture.
Good.
Yeah, and I mean, who should we look out for? Is Barry Foster still the man to look out for the Steelers, or am I 35 years too late?
Yeah, I think he was playing here in 1997 when they last played here, actually. Look, this is a game between two teams with fierce defenses, lots of really strong players on that side of the ball. The Minnesota Vikings have a backup quarterback in Carson Wentz, a ginger. We like that, but Aaron Rodgers at 41 years old, can he create some of the magic that took him to a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers? Can he turn back the clock is going to be a big question today. We're expecting a tight game, we're expecting an exciting game, and the atmosphere here at Croke Park 3 hours before kickoff is already absolutely booming, so Lord knows what it's going to be like when these stands are filled with 80,000 people.
Well, I notice on the monitor that you're sporting a luxuriant red beard. Do you always wear that, or have you just stuck it on for the afternoon that's in it?
This is very much my own red beard.
Okay.
I have I have an Irish history. My family are all from Roscommon, going back away. But yeah, certainly I'm not an owner of an Irish passport or anything. I have been mistaken for an Irishman many times over the last few days. And you know what? Just go with it. Just take it and take the pint of Guinness they're offering you and move on.
Enjoy the game. Well, over on talkSPORT 2 then, who's playing again? The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings. Will has you covered for that. Let's do a bit of Arsenal. We can hear from Mikel Arteta. They go to St James's Park this afternoon. Here's what Mikel Arteta wants to see from his side today. Not much.
that bodes well for Eddie Howe.
I'd hope for a bit more of a team talk from Mikel Arteta, but maybe silence is all he needs. Let's talk then and hopefully Sophie Nicolau will speak more than Mikel Arteta did to us. Host and producer of the Highbury Squad podcast. Sophie, you okay?
I'm here, and I'm sure Mikel just didn't want to speak to the media, considering the ill treatment he's receiving from everyone. Come on.
Well, obviously, we know, Sophie, now that the biggest coward the earth has ever seen is Mikel Arteta. How do you feel about this? You know, coming second in the Premier League is easy, of course, and you know he's done nothing but just sort of He's just weak.
That's why everybody else has finished third in the Premier League for the last 3 seasons, because it's that easy, you know, coming from the man who, whose team equalised in the dying seconds yesterday, took their shirts off and acted as though they'd won the Premier League. But, oh no, totally. Arsenal are judged totally differently. I mean, jokes aside, guys, we're talking about a manager who's actually made the Premier League interesting because he has a competitive Arsenal again. And there are going to be some people who say, yeah, well, okay, can we just get past the process phase? And listen, many of us Arsenal fans are past the process phase. We've even passed the progress phase, and now it has to go into the success phase. But when you look at what Mikel Arteta has offered, not only Arsenal Football Club and what he has given to the fans, but also the fact that Arsenal have been the only competitive team that have been vying for a Premier League title against the Liverpool, against the Manchester City. Nobody else has been doing that in the last 2 or 3 years. And I just find it, listen, was I happy with the lineup against Liverpool? No. Did I want us to go at them a little bit? Yes, especially when you see what Crystal Palace were able to do. But to continually have this rhetoric and this narrative around Mikel Arteta, it just proves really how big a football club Arsenal are. I think people have mistaken Arsenal doing little in the Premier League over the last few years versus Arsenal Football Club still being a big club. And those are two different things. And look, some people may not like to hear this. Manchester City have been a smaller club doing big things in the Premier League, doing big things in football. And hopefully, we'll get there this season. But Mikel Arteta, very popular with the media and pundits, opposing fans. And I just think some of those folks need to look in the mirror when you look at who has actually been the competitive club against two of the best teams we've seen in England in the last 10 years.
Carry on, Baz, if you want.
Well, I was just going to say, Sophie, Arsenal have had 2 big tests so far this season. They've failed both of them, I would say.
Losing to the champions 1-0 is a failure. Yeah, of course, you lose 1-0. That's a failure. Where was the other failure?
The draw, the last minute draw against
Pep Guardiola,
Manchester
the greatest
City,
manager. The manager that everyone says is the greatest manager that we've seen in however long, and probably better than Sir Alex Ferguson, and the best Manchester City version that the Premier League and the world has seen. Just because you're not as good as you have been, it doesn't mean that your pedigree and your football culture doesn't stand in a game, And this isn't to get a point. Was it disappointing? Yes, but is it a failure, Barry? Really?
I think so. Yeah, because I think you were quite lucky to get it.
Explain to me how it's a failure to get a point against Pep Guardiola and Manchester City at home. If it would be a failure if we lost that game. And should we have won it? Absolutely, 100%. And maybe we'll regret it down the line. But, I've been critical of Mikel, not being brave enough like he was in 22, 23, 23, 24, playing fearless football versus fearful football. But the fact that we've scored 10 goals this season in the Premier League, we've only conceded 2. Crystal Palace did everybody a favour yesterday. What would be a failure is if we do not capitalise on this moment and beat Newcastle United away from home, which we haven't done in the last 3 visits. And if we make it a 4th, it will be a run that we haven't seen since the 1960s. We actually haven't even scored there in our last 3 games. So what would be a failure is if we miss the moment. Liverpool cracked the door open, and we need to smash that door down, send a message, and make a statement today against a Newcastle team that have been really a bogey for us away from home.
The thing with Arteta, isn't it, Sophie, is that, and I don't disagree with you, Matthew. I think he is clearly good. Arsenal are good, and coming second is very difficult. The Premier League is very hard. And it's really fine margin. So if you caveat the criticism of Arteta with he's clearly good, this is the absolute top level of this thing, and the margins are so tight that if you don't turn up in that game against Liverpool, you don't manage to break down Man City, who are playing bizarrely defensively, that is what will cost. There is every chance Arsenal come second this year, which I don't think is a crime, because coming second is really good. But
are you not making the same point I did, Max, but in a more polite way?
Well,
Yes,
Barry
maybe,
sounds
but I'm more
salty
polite.
today. I mean, I've been listening to him talking about the Ryder Cup and stuff. He woke up. Someone took the eggs out of his omelette this morning, but maybe
I'd love
I
to have
sound
had
like
an
they.
omelette this morning.
We beat Manchester City 5-1 last season. I think what gets people's goat about Arteta is when he then says in a press conference, the 1-1 was a better performance than the 5-1. That's what irritates people. What irritates people is his approach sometimes in how he analyzes or what his thoughts are about the game. I didn't agree with that. There's no way that was a better performance. But you're talking about a manager, and also it is the modern day football manager. It's a possession obsession game. It's about winning duels. We're seeing a lot of sideways passing, backwards passing. It's not just Arsenal. Opta just came up with some stats, which, by the way, is a Generation Xer. If you say to me XG, I literally cringe, because it's like, did you score a goal? Did you win the game? But there's a negative approach in football to not lose because there's so much at stake. So, and also the whole thing with now long throw won Crystal Palace the game. When Mikel Arteta was doing long throws against PSG in the Champions League final, everyone took the mickey out of him. When you look at our set pieces, there is part of him that is a little bit of a trailblazer in the moment, but he has to back it up with winning. Arsenal are going to be judged in April and May. Are we going to melt under the spotlight, or are we finally going to overcome that mental hurdle and bring one of the big trophies home? And for Mikel Arteta, he will never get the respect from anybody until he wins something major. And the love coupons of the FA Cup have run out for a lot of people, but that's how he's going to be judged.
Are you enjoying the season, Sophie?
Yes, I am so far. I think it's fascinating. Yeah. I think it's a really interesting season. Even your lot are quite interesting this season. And these are the games, though, that I'm excited about the game today. I may sound a little tense, but I think it's like 6 games in, and the narrative that is built towards, Arsenal Football Club is already a little bit tiresome. It's like, can we just find a new toy to play with? Instead of everyone throwing their toys out the pram talking about Arsenal. It's kind of getting old.
But we can only judge them, Sophie, on the evidence of what we've seen. And what we've seen is them go to play Liverpool, go to play Manchester City, the two teams who are expected to be their main title rivals, and play in the most meek, cowardly way imaginable.
Can't we all just get along? This show is a getting along show.
He's just trying to get a rise out of me right now. You better be careful. I might start behaving like the American fans at the Ryder Cup, Barry.
Yeah, well,
I want you to enjoy the game, Sophie, is what I don't want you to win it, but I want you to enjoy it. And I love having you on. So thank you, Sophie. Good stuff.
Great to see you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Sophie Nicolau there from the Highbury Squad podcast. We'll do some Newcastle next. Now, dancers, can we have 2 more rounds of that, please? I'm giving that round to Barry on points, though, and I'm an Arsenal fan. Ding, ding, round 2 down in Exmouth. Basting his... Is that... I was going to read something which could just be he's making Sunday dinner, but it could be from the Urban Dictionary. So,
yeah.
I'll leave it.
Always best to err on the side of caution there.
Let's get team news from Villa Park with Adam Bridge of Berry Groves.
With Aston Villa today, of course, we haven't won any of their first 5 in the Premier League. First start today for Harvey Elliott. Return for Emi Martinez in goal. He was missing in midweek, of course, but he played against Sunderland last week. So there's 2 changes from the Premier League team of last week. Kamara is down on the bench, Buendia as well. Elliott and Bogard coming to the starting 11. As for Fulham, 2 changes for them as well. Kenny Tete and Rodrigo Muniz are both absent from the matchday squad today as they look to win 3 Premier League games in a row for the first time since 22-23. Raul Jimenez comes in for his 50th Premier League start for Fulham up front, and it'll be Timothy Castagne who comes in at right back for Fulham. We're underway at 2 o'clock this afternoon at Villa Park for Aston Villa against Fulham.
Thanks very much, Adam. Let's talk to Jack Cunningham, Newcastle fan writer for talkSPORT.com. Obviously, they're home to Arsenal. How are you, Jack? You good?
Yes, good, mate. How are you? Good?
Yeah, very well, thanks. You got a good record against Arsenal at home. Of course, it was the Disgracia game. Was that last year, right? Or maybe the year before?
That was the year before. That was the year before.
The year before. But it's been a weird start for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think, look, if you look at the table, it doesn't look very good, to be honest. And obviously the summer was massively disrupted. But I've been quite encouraged by Newcastle's performances. I mean, ultimately, he only lost to Liverpool and Barcelona so far in all competitions. And the Liverpool game, Newcastle were unlucky to lose. And the Barcelona game, Newcastle were unlucky to lose. I think that probably the only disappointing result has been so far, really, for me, is the 0-0 against Leeds, 3rd game of the season, where, you go to Ellen Road, even without a striker at that point, when Waldemar had only just joined. He was sat in the stands watching, and of course, if Vissa hadn't joined yet, Isak, of course, wasn't playing. So Asula was up front, and we barely created a chance. So that was disappointing. I thought last week, the Bournemouth game, look, some people were annoyed with that, but equally, Newcastle would most times go to Bournemouth and lose, especially after playing that Barcelona game. He made 7 changes for the Bournemouth match. And we limited a Bournemouth side who've had a brilliant start of the season to absolutely nothing. I mean, Newcastle created very little as well. Probably should have had a penalty, which would have changed the game. So I see why people are looking maybe a bit sort of sceptical on Newcastle so far. But the performances for me have been encouraging. And defensively, this is probably the best I've seen Newcastle potentially ever, which is quite unusual for a Newcastle team who, when you consider, associated with being the entertainers. And Newcastle have always been more about the attacking players and stuff. But in terms of a set of centre-backs, this is the best set of centre-backs Newcastle have ever had, I think.
Jack, what are you expecting to see from Newcastle this afternoon? Will they go at Arsenal, or will it be more defensive display, do you think?
Yes, I think if you look at the Newcastle games against Arsenal at St James's Park, they've been very, very tight. But Newcastle have only lost 1 of those games under Eddie Howe at St James's Park, 2-0 during the 2022-23 season. Apart from that, we've won every other match to 0. So, it's been really encouraging in that sense from Newcastle. And the way they go about it in those games is aggressive pressing, but equally, once they get a goal, then it sort of drops back into a 4-5-1, like mid-block. And, Arsenal can't break it down. For whatever reason, Arteta and Howe has Arteta's number. Certainly over the last, if you look at the last season, we played 4 times. We beat them 3 times. We lost the other game 1-0 at the Emirates, again in a really tight match. So I'm not expecting many goals, to be fair, because I think both teams are really good defensively. And equally, I think Newcastle will get the better of Arsenal. We seem to just do it, especially at St James's Park. Arteta can't go there and win. I don't know what it is about that, but St James's Park, Eddie Howe seem to get the better of Arteta. They get under his skin a little bit as well. He obviously had that one, the disgrace game. And then, of course, since then, he's been the constant target of chance throughout. I mean, last season we were chatting about the ball. Mikel Arteta must be the ball. Because he'd obviously made that weird comment about the Carabao Cup ball in the first leg when Newcastle won 2-0. So I'm expecting an aggressive start from Newcastle. I think we'll hopefully get an early goal. And then it would be all down to Arsenal to try and break us down. And, Arsenal, even with Eberechi Eze, do struggle to break down teams who sit back. I mean, Manchester City looked like they were going to get a 1-0 win last weekend until, for some reason, they decided right at the end of the game, despite having no players, to push up high up the pitch, and the long ball got played over the top, and Gabriel Martinelli scored a great chip. So, yeah, I think Newcastle can get the win, and I'd be a bit disappointed if we don't, to be fair.
Jack, does the presence of Sunderland in the Premier League affect you as a Newcastle fan, insofar as now that Newcastle it's been established they are only the second best team in the Northeast?
All right, okay, all right, Barry. If you look at the table now, fair enough. Yeah,
does that affect your mood as a Newcastle fan? Does it put more pressure on Newcastle, who've previously had the Premier League all to themselves, geographically, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying, but I feel like Newcastle are hitting in a different echelon of the Premier League to Sunderland. To be fair, I feel like
you're mid-table.
Well, yeah. At the moment. But in terms of the end of the season, let's see where we're at. I think Sunderland have had a great start, though. Absolutely, fair play to them. Really good recruitment. Manager's got such an organised team. I think the goalkeeper looks brilliant. Reeves, he's been fantastic. So Sunderland have had a really good start. I'm obviously nervous about the derby. I mean, Newcastle, the first one in December. I think we play Leverkusen in midweek beforehand. I think Sunderland have got a tricky run leading up to it as well. But, I mean, I'd be surprised if it's like the last one in the FA Cup. I think it'll be a very, very different game. I think Sunderland.
That was a pathetic effort from Sunderland.
No, it was disappointing, because I remember that game in the sense of Newcastle had come into that match in really bad form. I think lost 7 out of 8 games or something going into that match. And Eddie Howe named his full strength team. He even started Joe Linton, and he wasn't fit at all. Joe Linton came off immediately when we went 2-0 up, and he didn't play again that season because he needed surgery. So it was such a huge match, and Sunderland just approached it in the total wrong way. Can't see that being the case. But look, Newcastle will finish above Sunderland this season. I mean, we will. We just will.
Good stuff, Jack. Enjoy the game today, Jack.
No worries. Cheers, lads. Thank you.
Jack Cunningham there, Newcastle fan, writer for talksport.com. Dan's been back in touch to say, not a euphemism, I am basting my pork shoulder. And he sent me a photo, and it's in the oven. So if it is a
all of that sounds like one euphemism after the other.
If it is in the oven, then he's taken the euphemism far too far, I would suggest. We'll do some Aston Villa with Jacob Tanswell from The Athletic in a second.
Tyson Fury, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez. Just hearing these names makes you think money and the hundreds of millions of dollars, pounds or Saudi riyals in boxing. But that's at the top. At the bottom, it isn't quite the same. Even for those on the rise, there's not an awful lot of cash in the boxing world. And if you're just starting out, well, it can be a very costly exercise indeed. But don't take my word for it. Here's the former European champion, talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver.
You're turning professional and you're boxing, let's say, York Hall on a non-televised fight. You have to sell tickets to earn any money, but you have to cover the wages of your opponent as well. So if you don't have the ability to be able to sell enough tickets, you effectively have to pay to fight.
A far cry then from Jake Paul facing Mike Tyson in 2024, when the purse was reported to be around £48 million. But the vast amounts of cash lining the top dog's pockets isn't the norm in a typical fight.
Let's say you're lucky and you get between 5 and 10 grand. You're going to get 10 grand max for that. 10% goes to the trainer, 25% goes to the manager. Then we've got the tax man to pay as well. So we're cutting that money in at least half. So now you've got 5 grand for a 10-week camp. So you're talking about a guy here earning, he might be clearing 500 quid a week. How do you support a family on that? So boxers chase the dream. And, you know, there's probably 2% of them that actually make it.
So say you do make it and you start to rise up the ranks. Strikers Boxing, a training academy, says the mid-tier fighters can earn more, somewhere between £10,000 and £50,000 a fight, depending on record, profile, opponent and popularity of weight class. It's only at the top level does the real cash start flowing in, with the top-tier professionals, i.e. those going for titles, earning 6 figures a fight. Something else you'll have heard of is the terms prize fighter or journeyman. A prize fighter is, as it sounds, someone who picks up fights where they can and gets a nice big check if they win. Journeymen are the fighters who take on up-and-comers, effectively used for experience in the ring. Even if they're going up against the real prospects, a young Anthony Joshua, for example, these guys will be lucky to earn more than 10 grand. So the average boxer isn't as rich as you'd think.
Steve has been in touch to say, hey guys, never had the chance to listen to talkSPORT on a Sunday due to work. But due to being under the weather, I've tuned in today. I just want to say the lady who just defended Arteta is spot on. As an Arsenal fan, I think a lot of so-called supporters of the team need to listen to what she said. Truly amazing. Meanwhile, Wad says, I love that Barry woke up today and chose violence. Anyway, let's do a bit of Aston Villa, shall we? Jacob Tanswell, Aston Villa writer for The Athletic, joins us to play Fulham today at Villa Park. Hey, Jacob.
Afternoon, guys.
What do you odds? Some teams have had odd seasons, and Villa are having an odd season.
Yeah, they most certainly are. I think if you asked any Villa fan going into the season, they're probably optimistic. Of course, they're always optimistic under Unai Emery, but they knew this season would be tough. You know, they knew with PSR restrictions, the disappointment of the last game of last season against Manchester United, it would be difficult. But no one quite anticipated it to be this difficult. And it feels, we're only 6 games into the season, really, with Europa League. But there is a weariness around the club, and that's why today and all the games before the international break are so important.
Yeah. Do you sense that the one thing that Villa has going for it is Unai Emery? Do you sense that everyone is still like, it's fine, we've got Unai Emery, let's not panic?
He's certainly seen as a god around here, especially in the Midlands. But there is a sense that, okay, he's obviously incredible and he's overachieved, but he can only do so much, right? He can only get to a certain point with these players that have been here for so many years. 9 and starting 11 against Sunderland were there before Emery. So I think there's a feeling that, yes, he's brilliant. He does overachieve, but he does need a bit more support, especially from the transfer market.
Jacob, there's clearly something not quite right at Villa. And the other night we had the weird scenario where Morgan Rogers, who was brilliant for England during the international break, was being sarcastically applauded because he successfully completed a pass. Ollie Watkins just seems to have lost his mojo altogether. Can you explain the drop-off in form for those very good players?
Yeah, there's a combination of factors, really. So at the start of the season, there was a discussion with staff, and it was put to me that Villa would be under huge pressure, really, to create, and there'll be a huge burden on Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins because they weren't able to recruit in the attacking positions until deadline days. And the players that Villa previously had, John Duran, Moussa Diaby, had gone, and they'd not really replaced them. So it's up to Ollie Watkins to score the goals, like he has under Unai Emery amazingly, and Morgan Rogers to create. As you've seen, teams are starting to work out that if you don't give Morgan Rogers time to receive on the half-time, if you get nice and tight, then it's more difficult for him to create. And as you saw against Bologna, he really struggled. He had the equivalent of the football yips, really, because he couldn't make a pass. The team was struggling, and fans have been frustrated with him because he's not quite impacting the game. How much that down to him, I'm not quite sure. But if you saw for the England game, when he put in his performance, and his assist was for Norwegi, a right winger with pace who runs in behind. And Villa actually, incredibly, haven't got a right winger in their squad. It's an imbalanced squad. So the players around him aren't particularly helping in terms of off the ball runs. But it's up to him as well now to almost go again. He's had that really amazing success. But as you see in a young player's career, you do get worked out and then you've got to evolve. And that's what he's kind of doing. I don't think Thursday night helped him, though, in terms of staying on, but also the reaction from the crowd.
I'm not sure if the teams have been announced yet. Is he playing today, Rogers, or is he been dropped?
He is, but interestingly, he's a slightly changed position. So previously he's been as the number 10 behind the striker. He's probably going to play off the left today with Harvey Elliott in the number 10. So maybe coming in off the left onto a stronger foot might help a little bit.
Have the expectations then changed? At the start of the season, what did Villa fans want from this season, and now what do they want?
I think there's always been a sense that they need to rubber stamp this era with a trophy, right? That's why the FA Cup semi-final last year was so disappointing against Crystal Palace, because there was a really good opportunity, and obviously Palace went on to win the competition. If you spoke to Villa fans at the start of the season, they probably say they could qualify for Europa League, maybe Conference League, and win the Europa League. It looks unlikely they'll finish in the top 6, top 7 in the league. So there is, I think, even now, we're only in September, but there's a massive onus already to go deep in the Europa League. I think the expectations have been tempered because obviously the start of the season. But I think people are aware that there is a flatness around Villa, and that's why these next 2 games at home in the league, Fulham and Burnley, are hugely important, really, to changing the feeling and fortunes around.
Yeah, and how does PSR affect them in January? Can they still not buy anywhere? Like, when will they be able to buy someone?
Well, I think that's a sense from the players. Like, hold on, when are we actually able to sign someone? Because we sold Moussa Diaby last summer, John Duran in January, Jacob Ramsey in the summer. Like, how many more players do we have to sell before we fight? The issue with Villa is the squad cost rules and the wages, right? In the summer, it's mid-80s. 80% of their revenue was going on player wages. Now it's in the mid-70s, but it's still above UEFA's limits. So they still need to be very conservative, but it also depends where they are. So we saw last January, they gambled basically qualifying for the Champions League with Rashford and Asensio. So if we get to that situation again where Villa have got an opportunity to get into Europe, then I think they'll back Emery and gamble almost. But they're still going to be very tight with PSR, but especially UEFA sanctions.
Enjoy the game, Jacob. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, Jacob.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Jacob Townsville there, live from Villa Park. So that game, 2 o'clock kickoff, Villa versus Fulham. Adam Bridge and Perry Groves are there. What do you think's going to happen in that one, Barry?
It's a good one. I watched Villa's game the other night in Europe. I watched it with such closeness, I can't exactly... Bologna, that was it. Bologna weren't great, and I was surprised by how poor Villa was. I was surprised by how... Like, Morgan Rogers looked like someone who had never played football before. And it's weird,
very odd,
because he played so well for England. a couple of weeks ago, he hasn't been playing well for Villa. Villa fans are, they're mocking him. They were mocking him the other night. I think they think he should be dropped, brackets taken out of the firing line, which is just a polite way of saying get him out of the side for a while and try someone else. I don't think Harvey Elliott has got a look in really since, or much of a look in since he arrived from Liverpool. I don't know if there's been an injury issue there or something else, but he's in the side today, so I think it's important he does well for them. And we will wait and see whether he does.
We will. We'll see, as Charlie Baker says. I think Harvey Elliott's a great signing. It should be good for them. I think if you're in a rut, Fulham at home feels like a nice fixture, but actually
it is. But if you lose, then the natives will get very restless indeed.
Yeah, they will. And actually, that is doing Fulham a disservice. As I think
I don't think it is, Max.
You don't?
No.
Fair enough.
I think if I was stuck in a rut, Fulham at home is probably the one I'd handpick.
All right, then. This is the warm-up on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Do what matters for the trade. Find out more at travisperkins.co.uk or download the app. Justin Morehouse joins us for Guess the Attendance in just a second.
of joy for the Red Roses. It's finished Canada 13, England 33. England are the world champions.
These girls are awesome. We've been imagining this for some time, but it's just nice to see the girls realise the potential.
It is unbelievable. It's literally what dreams are made of. We've built something so special over the last 3 years, and that was next level, and I think it was a chance to redefine women's rugby.
But you look, the last time England won the World Cup, 2014 in Paris, 20,000 watched it, 82,000 at Twickenham.
This is their 33rd victory in a row by a mile. It is their most important.
I heard there from the head coach John Mitchell, their captain Zoe Aldcroft. Brilliant win for England yesterday, winning the Rugby World Cup. And I interviewed Ellie Kildunn before the tournament. We spoke to Rocky Clark yesterday, former...
I heard that. She was brilliant.
She was great, absolutely great. And it's a brilliant performance, Barry. And as we heard in that little clip, to redefine women's rugby, to do kind of for rugby what the Lionesses have done for football for women in this country, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't see it, I must confess. That tournament sort of passed me by, but it's a good effort. I can't see women's rugby becoming as popular as the Lionesses women's football, but I think that's just because rugby isn't as popular as football in this country. But yeah, fair play to them. You know how I feel about England winning World Cups, Mark.
No, I know.
Don't make me...
No.
I did say before the break, by the way, that if I was stuck in a rut, Fulham at home would be exactly what I need. Then it occurred to me during the break that I've been stuck in a rut since 2011. So maybe I should invite Alex Iwobi, Emile Smith-Rowe and Bern Leno around to my house for dinner, and they might get me out of it.
Let's see if you're in a rut with Guess Your Tents. I believe you won last week.
I won last week.
Yeah, I tell you, you're not in a rut. You're the opposite of that, just on a normal bit of ground. Today, top comedian Justin Moorhouse takes on top journalist Barry Glendenning. Welcome, Justin.
Hi, isn't the opposite on a mound?
Yeah,
no, you're on a mound.
Oh, so I'm going to be a baseball pitcher.
You're on a guest the attendance hillock today. Now, Barry saw a picture of you, Justin. You were there at the G-Tech cheering. Is that right?
Yes, that was
you
me.
didn't look like you were cheering. You looked like it was very much the old man shouts at cloud.
I got sent that picture a lot yesterday. I was 6 rows from the back at Brentford, and I think I was celebrating, and Graham, who was with me, he was kind of basically looking out like he was at sea, looking for a formation we could change to. I have to say, I picked the wrong season to start a Positive Spin Manchester United podcast called The Good Days, which was a difficult record this morning with myself and Noz and Jim White, not that one.
What are the positives? What are the positives you draw out of yesterday? I thought Bindy made a couple of good saves. Our much maligned keeper actually stopped us going 4-0 down in the first half. That was the and the other positive because we've got a section where we try and grasp at some straws, and we said we've got some players who might come back in. We haven't got many injuries. That was kind of the positives. It's just is the Southgate rumor, is that a positive?
Oh my God! I genuinely I say this with my hand on my heart. I cannot think of anybody I would much rather. I'd insert name of distasteful dictator / serial killer or someone your mum got off with managing us than that dull, waistcoated, absolute beige magnolia, if you can have such a thing as beige magnolia. No, please, no. I don't want this. I just want us to be. I just want the players to turn up and just have a go. Oh my God! Honest, I genuinely never normally get this bothered about football.
No.
Yesterday, let me tell you this, right? Let me tell you this. Yesterday, look, Graham, who's been watching Man United, he's a man in the picture since 1947. His early memories are playing on the smouldering, bombed-out Old Trafford ground after the Blitz. Yeah. He's been watching Man United since 1947. His wife has been in hospital. His wife is very old as well. He's in his 80s. He's up all night with her because she's got some medical complaints and he's looking after her. I have never seen a man skip out of a house at 7 a.m. desperate to go down and watch his beloved Reds. This is a man who didn't miss a pre-season tour of Man United for more than 20 years. Went to every away game, was one of about 17 people that made it to the far reaches of Russia for a one-off game. I have never seen a man go from so excited at 7 a.m. in the morning to I looked at him as he was getting the bus on the A6 to go back because I had to go the other way. I just looked at him getting on the bus last night. He looked like a broken man. Ruben Amorim's decision to stick with the system has broken over 75 years of friendship with Manchester United. That's what happened yesterday. So, yeah, the podcast is available. It's called The Good Days Are Coming. I think it might be out this afternoon. The good days are coming. What an idiot! What an idiot!
When they come, it'll be great for you.
Yeah, when they come, I'm going to be old Rory.
Right now, it's great for the rest of us. We begin at the G-Tech. Do you mind, Barry, if we have this attendance?
No, that's
I have
fine.
no idea.
I mean,
I have no idea.
Justin was part of the attendance, so
we know
I've
that
seen
Justin
him
was
on
there.
Match of the Day.
Yeah, we know that Justin was there. We know Graham in his 80s was there. Craig Pawson, we know, was there. Because he didn't send off Nathan Collins.
Have you ever seen a referee with a plainer face than Craig Pawson? It's the most plain face you've ever seen, isn't it?
Wow.
That's,
I mean, I think that is a really hard battle, actually. As plain faces go, there are a lot of plain faces in the PGMOL. Anyway, I have a very generic face. I can't, for those in glass houses.
I presume you've covered this already. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the penalty decision. Okay.
Yeah.
4 minutes to decide
to get it wrong.
In the end, I reckon VR were going, well, it's United. He never would have scored anyway, would he? So, nothing's going well for him, so we can't give it.
How many were there? Barry? Barry.
21,500.
Unless they've had an extension, that's an incredible guess. I'll say 18,000.
17,193. I should have gone to Justin first. I apologise, Barry. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Queen's Park Rangers 1. John Brooks of Leicestershire refereed this game. But how many were there at Hillsborough to watch this one?
Justin. Are they still protesting? I don't know. 22,000.
22,000, Barry.
I think they had their little protest the other week. 22,001.
20,132. I believe they are still protesting a little bit. Barnsley 0, Port Vale 2 in League One. Big win for Port Vale, not expected. 2 goals in the second half. James Linnington of Newport refereed the game. But how many were there at Barnsley? Barry.
The
sound of a man whose show is nearly over.
Yeah.
Big shout out, by the way, to the couple that spotted me last week when I was in the alleyways of Bath.
Yeah.
I finished the defeat. I came off the phone. I looked round and there was a man and his partner. And they went, hey, we just heard you. You were in the alleyways of Bath. And we went, we're in the alleyways of Bath. And here you are.
That's lovely. We're big in the alleyways of Bath. It's good to know. Barry, have you had time to count all the people in Barnsley?
Is this League One, yeah?
Yeah.
11,001.
11,001.
That's a cracker. It's there or thereabouts, Baz. It's there or thereabouts, Baz.
I got recognised on my way home from a 50th birthday party last night on the tube, the London Underground, by the way.
This is interesting, but I've just been told we have to stop the show in 1 minute.
Okay.
11,000.
10,688. Justin 3, Barry 0. Fleetwood 4, Colchester 2 in League 2. Edward Duckworth, son of Vera from England, refereed the game. But how many were there in Fleetwood, Justin?
5,000.
4,999.
2,147. 3-1. St Mirren 1, Dundee 0 in the Scottish Premiership. Matthew McDermott of Scotland refereed the game. But how many were at the SMISA, the Smiths Stadium? Goal from Mr. Phillips. I don't know whose guess it is.
7,500.
7,499.
6,382. If we did the show all like this, we could wrap it up by 11:15. Anyway, the
Something to think about,
6,382. I think that was Justin 4. Barry 1. Thank you, Barry. Thank you, Justin. What a wonderful radio programme. Keep it talkSPORT because it is all absolutely brilliant. And I'll be back next Saturday.